Career transitions are tough, especially when they're spurred by life events. They can feel endless, overwhelming, and cause us to shortchange ourselves by making concessions and compromises on what we need. In today's Build episode, I'm going to share a recent transition that I went through and how I managed to pull through it. So stay tuned. Welcome to Build, the show that debunks a number of myths and misconceptions related to building products, companies, and your career in tech. I'm your host, Poornima Vijayashanker. I'd previously mentioned that I was experimenting with the format of Build, so today is going to be a solo show with just me. And I'm curious to hear your take on it. Let me know by leaving a comment below this video. I don't always have time to respond, but know that I am listening, reading, and learning from audience members like you. Last year, in the midst of my maternity leave, I started to worry, more so than I usually do, and specifically about money. I'd previously written a number of blog posts about how I had gone through a round of interviews for companies and ultimately decided that running my own business was going to give me the most freedom and flexibility, something I desperately needed as a new mom. Somehow, all of that logic seemed to seep out of my postpartum brain and had been replaced with this overwhelming need to provide for my newly born child. Despite being a good saver and being a part of a dual-income household, staring down at my medical bill for my delivery made me worry about all the unexpected expenses that would slowly start creeping up. I'm a strong believer that a tight budget isn't enough. You also need to go out and make money. So I thought about all the things that I could do. I could start by answering the recruiter emails that were piling up in my inbox. Or I could start working on the course that I wanted to launch in the fall. But this was 6 weeks into my maternity leave, and I was having a really hard time summoning the energy to do something new. Not to mention having the time to do it. I needed both time and energy to either prepare for an interview or to market a course. Plus, I need to persuade to others that I was credible. I reread my own advice, and I realized that I needed a way to cash in on my credibility that I had already built up without compromising on my non-negotiables. That meant instead of proving myself to somebody new or a brand new company, I needed to go back to working with people who knew that I was credible. So I called up a client that I had worked for back in 2014 and 2015 to see if they needed help. They said they did, and that they didn't need it until I was done with my maternity leave. So the timing was on my side. There were just 2 catches. I needed to commute to San Francisco 3 days a week, and the client had reduced their contractor rate. Both of these directly conflicted with my 2 non-negotiables, which were not commuting more than 2 days a week and my rate. I decided that I wasn't going to budge on how I priced myself, and I told my client that I would appreciate them checking to see if there was any more budget. I reminded my client that I was reliable, and they remembered the quality of work that I had produced back in 2014 and 2015. I was also super fortunate to have a few others vouch for me. And finally, I put the ball in their court and waited patiently for them to come back. My client came back and asked if I would accept working 2 days a week at a rate that fit their budget. I happily agreed to the terms because it was exactly what I needed as I transitioned back to work. What I relearned going through this transition was that you can go back to a client or company, especially if you've built up credibility with them, and it helps to have somebody vouch for you. Finally, I relearned the importance of having a set of non-negotiables. As I was negotiating on the phone, I made sure to pull up my document and have those non-negotiables stare at me throughout the entire call so that I would not make any concessions or compromises for what I needed. If you're willing to share, I'd like to know what was the last career transition that was spurred by a life event for you? How did you manage to pull through it without compromising on what you needed? Let me know in the comments below this video. And that's it for this episode of Build. Feel free to share this episode with your teammates, your friends, or anyone who you think may be going through a tough career transition. And subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive more episodes of Build. Ciao for now! Build is brought to you by amazing patrons. Our Platinum patrons are Andrea Goulet, CEO and co-founder of Corgi Bites; Charbel Saman, founder of Sprintwell; Dee Gill, founder of Chime On; Jamie Hand; and Lauren Hassan, CEO and founder of Developer, as well as the following patrons. If you'd like to join them and support Build, please visit patreon.com/build. In exchange for your support, you'll receive perks like advanced copies of our books from authors highlighted on the show, special pricing on upcoming Femgineer courses, and more. Welcome to Femgineer's Confident Communicator course introductory video series. I'm Poornima Vijayashanker, the founder of Femgineer.
And I'm Karen Catlin, a former tech executive who's now an advocate for women who are working in the tech industry.
For the last 22 years, I have been speaking in public, and for the last 8 within the tech industry. I have given a TEDx talk, I've been a guest lecturer at Duke's Pratt School of Engineering, an entrepreneur in residence at 500 Startups, a mentor in residence at Techstars, and was the founding engineer of Mint.com.
I am on my second career. In my first career, I spent 25 years building software products. I started out as a software engineer and over time moved to the executive level, where I was a vice president at Adobe Systems. Now, in my second career, I'm an advocate for women, which means I do a lot of public speaking about diversity, about women's leadership topics, and I've given a TEDx talk.
The Confident Communicator course is a live online course that Karen and I co-teach together. In this video series, we're going to give you a sense of what the Confident Communicator course is and what you'll get out of it.
You'll learn about the challenges Poornima and I have faced learning the craft of public speaking ourselves. You'll learn why we decided we just couldn't keep all of this knowledge to ourselves, and you'll hear from students who have taken the class about how they have become more confident communicators.
You're going to get a behind-the-scenes look at the entire course. You'll meet some past students and see how they went from being shy and nervous to poised and confident communicators. You're also going to meet employers and sponsors who found the course valuable enough to invest in and send their people. And finally, you'll get some sample lessons so you know the material that we're going to be covering. Sign up below to receive the first lesson immediately, where you'll understand why it's not good enough to just be heads down. You need to speak up to get the recognition you deserve. Ciao for now.